Hello everyone, and welcome to today's special listening practice. In this session, I will take you on a cultural journey through 3 experiences that I had while traveling: visiting famous landmarks, trying traditional food, and joining a local festival. Each part of the story connects to the next, so it will feel like one long adventure. Remember to listen carefully, imagine the scenes, and answer the comprehension questions at the end. Let's begin. Part 1. Visiting famous landmarks. Last summer, I had the chance to travel to Europe, and my first destination was Paris, the City of Lights. I had always dreamed of seeing the Eiffel Tower, and when I finally arrived, the feeling was magical. The streets of Paris were busy, with people walking quickly, tourists carrying cameras, and cars moving in every direction. But above the rooftops, I could see the tip of the Eiffel Tower shining in the distance. My heart beat faster with excitement. On my second day, I went to visit it. As I walked closer, I could feel the size of the tower. It was much bigger than I had imagined from the pictures. The iron structure looked strong and elegant, stretching into the sky. Around me, there were people speaking all kinds of languages: English, Spanish, Chinese, Arabic. It felt like the world had come together in one place. I waited in line, and then I entered the elevator. First, I went to the second floor. From there, I could already see the Seine River, the bridges, and the wide boulevards of Paris. After a short pause, I continued to the very top. When I stepped out, the view took my breath away. The city stretched out endlessly. The white buildings, the green parks, the moving cars, it all looked so small from above. The wind was strong and the sky was clear. I felt proud and grateful to be standing there. Later in the trip, I visited the Louvre Museum. Like many others, I wanted to see the Mona Lisa. The museum itself was like a city, full of history and art. I walked for hours, admiring sculptures, paintings, and objects from different cultures. Finally, I reached the famous painting. It was smaller than I expected, but the way her eyes seemed to follow me was unforgettable. People around me were taking photos, whispering, and smiling. I stayed there for a few minutes, just enjoying the moment. By the end of my Paris trip, I realized something important. Visiting landmarks is not only about taking photos. It is about feeling the history, the culture, and the spirit of the place. When you stand in front of a landmark, you become part of its story. After experiencing the beauty of landmarks, I wanted to discover another side of culture, something closer to everyday life. And what could be more universal than food? My next stop took me far from Europe to Asia, where I tasted flavors I had never known before. Part 2. Trying traditional food. 2 years ago, I traveled to Japan. Before going, I had eaten sushi and ramen in my own country, but I knew that the real experience would be very different. On my first night in Tokyo, I went to a small restaurant recommended by a friend. It was not fancy, but it had a warm and welcoming atmosphere. Wooden tables, soft lights, and the smell of grilled fish made me feel comfortable right away. I ordered ramen. The chef served me a big steaming bowl. Inside were noodles, vegetables, slices of pork, and a boiled egg, all swimming in a rich broth. The first spoonful was amazing, salty, warm, and full of flavor. It was like comfort in a bowl. I understood why ramen is so popular in Japan. It is not just fast food. It is a meal with love and tradition. The next day, I went to a traditional sushi bar. I sat at the counter, and the chef prepared each piece in front of me with careful hands. Fresh salmon, tuna, and shrimp were placed on small pieces of rice, sometimes with a touch of wasabi. At first, I was a little nervous about eating raw fish, but the taste surprised me. It was delicate, fresh, and full of natural flavor. I realized that sushi is about simplicity and balance. Later in the week, I tried tempura, crispy fried vegetables, and seafood. It was golden and light, served with a dipping sauce. I also drank matcha tea and tasted Japanese sweets that were less sugary than desserts in my country, but equally delicious. Every meal told me something about Japanese culture: respect, care, and harmony. But the best part was not just the food, it was the people. In Japan, sharing a meal is a way of showing kindness. The chefs, the waiters, and even strangers at the next table smiled and made me feel welcome. I learned that food is more than taste. It is a bridge between people. After landmarks and food, I wanted to experience something even more alive: the joy of a festival. Festivals are windows into the heart of a culture. They are colorful, noisy, and full of life. And so, my next journey took me to Spain. Part 3. Local festivals or customs. In Spain, I joined a famous festival called La Tomatina, held in the town of Buñol near Valencia. I had heard stories about it, and I wanted to see if they were true. Imagine thousands of people, streets full of laughter, and trucks carrying tons of ripe tomatoes. That is La Tomatina. On the morning of the festival, everyone wore old clothes because we knew they would be destroyed. The air was full of excitement. When the signal was given, the tomato fight began. Suddenly, red tomatoes were flying everywhere. People were throwing, laughing, shouting, and enjoying the chaos. In just minutes, I was covered in tomato juice from head to toe. At first, it was strange, but soon I laughed like everyone else. It felt like being a child again. The fight lasted about 1 hour, but it felt shorter because it was so much fun. Afterward, the streets were red and the ground was soft with tomatoes. Local firefighters came to clean everything, and people washed themselves with hoses and fountains. In the evening, the celebration continued with music, dancing, and delicious Spanish dishes like paella. What stayed with me was not only the excitement, but also the spirit of the community. Locals and tourists celebrated together as if we were one family. Festivals, I learned, are not just traditions. They are moments of connection, joy, and unforgettable memories. Reflection and review. So, in this journey, I explored 3 parts of culture: landmarks, food, and festivals. Each one taught me something different. Landmarks showed me history and beauty. Food gave me taste and connection. Festivals gave me joy and togetherness. When we travel, we do not only move from place to place, we open our hearts to the world and to people who live differently from us. Key vocabulary. Landmark. A famous or important place, like the Eiffel Tower. Broth, the liquid part of a soup. Hospitality. The friendly way people welcome others. Festival. A special event with music, food, and celebration. Tradition. A custom or practice passed from generation to generation. Comprehension questions. 1. Which city did the speaker visit to see the Eiffel Tower? 2. What painting did they see in the Louvre Museum? 3. What was the first traditional Japanese dish they tried? 4. How did the speaker describe the taste of sushi? 5. What were people throwing during La Tomatina? 6. How long did the tomato fight last? 7. What 3 lessons did the speaker learn from landmarks, food, and festivals? This concludes today's Travel and Culture Special. Remember, listening is a skill. The more you practice, the more you understand. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and see you next time.